Hi guys, quick thing before we start. This has been an absolute disaster so far, hasn't it, John?
Yeah, we're cursed. We've came to the conclusion we're cursed.
We got about 30 minutes in and I lost internet connection, and then we found that only the first 10 minutes had recorded. John sounded like he was underwater. Just everything's gone.
It's been bad.
Well, yeah, you'll get about 10 minutes in and it will sound markedly different. So we're just putting that on your radar first. If you ever doubt how much we love doing this, then this is the episode for you to listen.
Yeah, this tested us. Yep, really did. Hi guys, on this show we're looking at Whitehouse, Palin, Isaacs, Friends, Considine, Russell, Buscemi, and McLoughlin. We're looking at 2017's Death of Stalin.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of 100 Things We Learned from Film. I'm one of your hosts, my name's Planty, and I'm off to represent the entire Red Army at the buffet.
Yeah, and I'm the other guy, and I'm joining him for seconds.
As if I would represent the whole podcast at the buffet.
At the buffet.
You'd be right in front of me, you fat biffer.
Mate, you could get nowhere near it. Nowhere near it.
It'd be like a proper fight breakout over the vol au vents, sausage rolls,
yeah.
mini pork pies.
Mini.
John, how are you?
I'm alright. I was better for seeing you. It feels like I've not seen you for a while, so
It's not been that long. It's been a couple of weeks. You've had a week off for your anniversary celebrations.
Yeah.
All went well?
Yeah, a whole
Still
year.
married?
Still married, yeah.
Good start.
Ate a lot. We didn't drink as much, yeah, we're maturing like fine cheeses. So no drinking as much, but
Is that what the stink is?
it's all for a good cause. But no, it was good. We went and visited places. I decorated 2 rooms. What?
Fucking hell, mate. Yeah,
They were
decorating expert.
Small bathrooms, but hey, still done.
Hey, this is what it is. Yeah, exactly. This, of course, is the film that tries to learn 100 things from every... the podcast tries to learn 100 things from every film that we talk about. And this week, it is a patron's choice. If you want to pick, you want your name put on the wheel will spin, and it will fall to... you eventually, hopefully. There's people, whoever's last on the wheel is going to be furious.
Yeah.
It will fall for you, and you will get the opportunity to recommend us a film. To do so, just give us a quid a month, and we will shout you out in every episode as well.
Get you on a wheel of cheese.
Oh man, I wish it was a wheel of cheese. Also, loads of bonus bits and pieces on the Patreon. So it's patreon.com/100 things film. But John isn't going to tell us what film has been picked. We are going to fly over to Patron Lee, who has picked for us.
Hi, John and Planty. It's Lee here, your listener who has picked the film for this week's podcast. And that film is The Death of Stalin, written and directed by Armando Iannucci, who we all know from TV shows like The Thick of It and Veep. The reason I picked this particular film is twofold. Number one, so I really love the film. I've not seen it since when it came out, like 6 or 7 years ago. Saw it at the cinema. I absolutely love it. I think it's very interesting, very funny, and I'm sure that you guys will enjoy it. The second reason that I picked it is that I actually think that this might be the film where you break your record for the highest number of facts for any given film, given that it's based on such a well-documented historical event. I'm sure there's a lot of information and a gold mine of facts for you guys to research and share with everybody. So I'll just give you my fact now, and then I'll let you crack on and record your podcast. And that fact is, unsurprisingly, that this film has been banned in Russia. So there we go. I look forward to listening to your podcast. See you later.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Lee. No pressure there then.
No.
But he has started us with a fact, so let's see how we get on with this. John, the Death of Stalin. Had you seen this before for the podcast?
So I'd seen bits of it. I'd never seen it all the way through. But in my defence, it's not really my cup of tea. I'm not really a
There's no
historian.
werewolves in it.
Nah,
There's no exploding vampires.
It's all about. And do you know what? See, after hearing about Stalin, I didn't really want to watch a comedy film. Admittedly, when I knew the cast and I thought the cast looked absolutely amazing, Steve Buscemi and something like this. So, but I didn't get the chance to. But yeah, it's only because it's dark past. Nothing to do with that show, the director or the actors.
It's a stat. It's got a great cast.
It really does.
Stacked.
Yeah.
Absolutely stacked. And
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. I had a great time with this. Second and third times I've watched it. So I had a fantastic time. But I do understand it's difficult. Trigger warning before we start. There is murder, sexual assault, and man eating an apple. You eat too many apples. Anyway,
funny.
2017, John. What else could we have been watching?
Right, so I'm going to be honest with you. In my opinion, 2017 wasn't great for films. I'm looking at a few, and I wasn't taking my Mother. So Mother with that Jennifer.
Mother! Exclamation mark. Is that not what Wile E. Coyote holds up a sign of when he's falling?
Yeah. Autopsy. The Forgotten, The Shape of Water, which is weird as shit.
The Shape of Water's okay, I guess.
Yeah,
Can't believe it's that old.
Jeepers Creepers 3, the last of the...
Yoink.
There was Flatliners, a remake, which was fucking pointless.
Yeah.
Absolutely pointless. But I'm going to try and end on a high for you. Let's go with... Oh, God, I can't even end on a high. There's nothing here. That is bad. Let's go with Ghost. No, Ghost in the Shell? Nah.
The whitewash remake of Ghost in the Shell.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
Let's not do that. 2017 wasn't the best. What are the Planet of the
Listeners are
Apes?
screaming at... What?
Oh, they've gone crazy.
Which Planet of the Apes?
War.
Is that the third one of those? That's the one I'm partway through watching. While I've been off with my hand, when I've been in pain on a night, I've been watching the Apes films.
Yeah, so that's the one with Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, that's the one I'm partway through watching. That's the one with the Bad Ape. Yes. I need to go back to that. That's Steve Zahn, isn't it? It's the guy out of Candy Cane. Fuck, we'll have to do that. Yeah. Anyway, by the by. Let's get on with the film. Loads of spoilers, loads of nonsense, and we might help you win a history quiz this week. If it's the history of the USSR.
God, yeah.
Who knows? This one opens, John, as an Entertainment One. Anything on them?
They produced The Creator in 2015's Peppa Pig, The Golden Boot. I know that. And they were founded in 1970.
Peppa Pig and the Golden
Peppa
Boot.
Pig and the Golden Boot.
Did she beat Messi to it that year?
Probably. But yeah, that's what I've got a name.
The Creator, the one with the robots.
The robots, yeah.
I liked that. A lot of people didn't like that, but such a good time with that
I
movie.
honestly didn't mind that. I thought it was
gorgeous.
Right. Oh, lovely to look at.
Absolutely.
Yeah, defo.
Okay. I had them as, you will remember them anyway, John, from the mid-70s as the Canadian record distributor Records on Wheels.
What?
No. Okay.
Is that for the
2001, they became ROW Entertainment. They then became Entertainment One Income Fund in 2005.
Whoa.
E1 Entertainment 2009. Entertainment One in 2010. E1 Canada in 2023.
Yeah.
Now, if that doesn't scream tax dodge, I do not know what does.
It is. Yep. Agreed.
Previously owned, John, by Hasbro. You know, the Transformers and G.I. Joe people.
Yep. Try to sound wave there.
Is that the noise of a Transformer? It sounds like a GoBot.
I know.
Remember GoBots? They are now a Lionsgate Canada company as of last year.
Of course they are.
The other one was Gaumont Film Company.
Yeah, got that. So they helped produce and distribute The Fifth Element.
Yeah, absolutely. Previous episode, The Fifth Element.
Yeah.
They also, John, apparently produced and distributed, where they distributed, I have no idea because I'd never heard of it, 1994's Highlander, the animated series.
No way.
Absolutely. The series is set in the far future of the 27th century. The last living descendant of the original Highlander fights against the evil dictator, Cortan. Probably one of Stalin's great. 40 episodes,
What?
listeners, and every single one is on YouTube for free.
Bloody hell, man.
Which, in my opinion, is still too dear.
No half.
I'm going to watch some of that.
So much for the Kabuli one. Do you know, I actually hated the fucking series. See the actual one that was on TV?
The series is shit. And then there was there not Highlander Endgame?
Yes, aye.
Try searching for that now.
No.
On the internet.
Yeah.
That's been absolutely closed down.
Every time I try and find a Highlander film, I always get sidetracked before the Fortress. Every time.
Oh, mate. Yeah, we should absolutely do Fortress. Yeah, we should. So the movie starts and it's in a theatre. There's a concerto being played. The control room gets a call, and it's the always bloody brilliant Paddy Considine.
Paddy. Or Andy. It's Andy.
Oh, it's one of the Andys. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I was going to say previous episode somewhere, isn't it? And future episode, possibly Dead Man's Shoes.
Yeah, no, I know.
If only so that I can do like 30 facts on the Derbyshire town of Matlock. Would be quite good.
We'll let you have it.
He's got a call. He needs to call back in 17 minutes. He makes a note of the number to call back, and there's this bit with him and the bloke that he's working with, and he's like, "Is that 5 as in hive, or 9 as in? Is it 9 as in fine, or 5 as in?" And the bloke's hive, and he's like, "Hive."
I did check that out. Looks as if there is a phonetic alphabet for numbers.
All right, okay.
And your favourite niner is definitely one of those.
Did I hear a niner in there?
Niner.
Okay, good stuff. There's this whole bit about 17 minutes from when he picked up the phone or put it down. Yeah. Oh no, 17 minutes from when I said I'd call him back. When was that? 30 seconds ago? Was it a minute? It's quite good. The music that's being played is the Piano Concerto 23 in A major K, which is something to do with the David Bowie song, I think. I'm not sure.
Yep, and it's been played on a Bachstein.
All right, okay.
Yeah. And they've been banging at pianos since 1853, I believe.
Have they now?
Yeah.
What a bunch of lads they are. The Bachstein boys.
Steampunks.
Jesus Christ. Well, those are ones that aren't in, that never made it into the final cut of The Warriors. And we got the Bachstein bunks. The concerto is scored for piano solo and an orchestra consisting of 1 flute, 2 clarinets, 2 bassoons, 2 horns, and strings.
And DiMaggio on strings.
Oh, mate, what a fucking banger that is, by the way.
Even Stalin would have wanted that recorded.
Stalin would have moved on from cowboy films to Platoon.
or watching Human Traffic on here too.
Yeah, Peter, I'm something of a platoon myself. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen Platoon. I don't really know what happens. I think they get platooned.
No half.
Possibly.
Splatooned.
Yeah. Yes. The only other film I could find this song, which is from this film that we're not talking about, on the soundtrack was Terrence Malick's The New World, John, from 2005.
Terrence Malick.
Another one with a great cast, but I don't remember a second of it. Was it maybe a Pocahontas ripoff?
Yeah, vaguely familiar, but it's so long. It's been so long.
Yeah, I think I've seen most of it. In his office, Stalin and Beria are talking over this list of people that they're rounding up and killing, whilst others are talking.
Yeah. What year was this, Planty? What year?
1953.
1953. A couple of interesting things happened back then. So the Queen was crowned, as you well know, because I think you were there. And modern genetics were being developed.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, that's, familiar. Yeah, very much so. January the 14th, 1953, talking of despots, John, Tito is made president of Yugoslavia. No mention of what happened to the other Jacksons.
I was going down rain in Africa, but you know what? Dyslexia allowed.
And nothing bad ever happened in Yugoslavia again. Am I right?
Nope.
January the 19th, 71.1% of all television sets in the United States are tuned into I Love Lucy, to watch Lucy give birth to little Ricky.
Oh, little Ricky!
Yeah. Ricky!
Ricky!
I hope they shot it from the top down.
Oh, God, aye.
It was more people than who tuned into Dwight Eisenhower's February the 28th inauguration the next day, which was January the 20th.
God, bet he felt left out.
Well, I'm sure he did. And that record, listeners, was never broken. It was never broken, and it's never going to be broken, considering that we haven't even got an aerial. I think there might be an aerial on the house.
Yeah, we've got one, but it's not plumbed in.
Is it not?
No.
Oh, mate, you're not going to get roddled. That's the one thing you've got going for
God,
you. February the 28th, as you pointed out, James Watson and Francis Crick of the University of Cambridge in England announced their discovery of the structure of the Dunner molecule.
Great-grandpapa. Oh, no, it wasn't great-grandpapa. It wasn't that long ago.
They rang the Dunner bell for the Dunner molecule or something.
Dunno.
Anyway, this is March the 1st, where we are in the film. Listeners, if you cannot keep track of this, you've got to go and watch it, because there are so many people with so many historic names and so many things going on, and I am so utterly full of cold and very shortly whiskey that I don't know what's going on. Berryer gives the orders to some soldiers. They've made a list of people that they're rounding up and killing. And he takes side to these soldiers. He's such a scheming little fucking worm, isn't he? This guy. I hated the character so much, and I also hated the actor. But I've seen the actor talk about the film, and he comes across as such a nice guy, such a likable, smiley guy.
Yeah.
But he plays bad really, really well.
Oh, you're going to identify that.
Like there's, you know how sometimes you'll watch a film and you'll go, I don't like that actor because I don't like how he is.
Aye.
Benedict Cumberbatch. I think it was he's the bad guy in the bad guy. 12 Years a Slave.
Yes,
is he?
Aye.
One of them is.
One of them.
And I'm just like I hate you. I can't watch you. But this, I just don't think I can watch him in anything else.
It's horrible. It's horrible. I think the worst baddie I've ever seen, or worst person playing a baddie, was Daniel Radcliffe. You just can't see him as a bad guy.
What's he a bad guy in?
It's something with that
one with Sandy B.
Sandy B and Brad Pitt's
quite
beautiful
good.
hair.
The Lost City of Gold or whatever it's called.
He's just a shit baddie. I can't take him seriously.
That made me think of previous episode, the one with Romancing the Stone.
Yes,
it's obviously a Romancing the Stone ripoff because she's a writer and she goes there. Anyway. And he says, kill him first, but make sure she sees it. I don't know why it's my Brian Clough impression. And this one, kill him, take him to his church and dump him in the pulpit, shithouse. I don't know why. I can't do that throughout the podcast. There's a montage of people being dragged from their homes and basically fucking murdered. It's really great.
One son dobbing his dad in. That was quite heart-wrenching.
Yeah, there was. And again, I think there was a lot of that in Russia at the time and Germany, 10, 20 years before. Back at the theatre, it's a little less grim. The director calls back to Stalin as the show ends. I want a recording of tonight's performance. It's Brian Clough again. It's because I've got a head cold. Everything's nasal. I'll send someone to pick it up. We learned the concerto wasn't recorded, so he rounds them all up as they're leaving and locks them in.
Do it again. Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Back at Stalin's dacha, which is the Russian word for like holiday home that they were all given.
Yep, like my dacha duster.
Jesus, you've definitely moved up in the world from a dacha duster.
Oh fuck, yeah, definitely. But still, though, it was just a joke. It was a joke, guys. I don't drive a dacha duster.
You Volvo wanker.
Well.
Over dinner, Khrushchev is telling this story of how they would put people's hands in water whilst they were sleeping and they'd piss themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There is such a thing as immersion diuresis, which is urination brought on by temperature and pressure changes from immersing the body in water. This is why swimming makes you go for a wee. I watched a whole episode, listeners, of Mythbusters just for one bit on this. And they tested it on the Grumpy Bald one and it didn't work. So, I guess that means the myth was busted.
Yeah, it means it's not true. It doesn't. It's not happening.
The guy telling the story is Nikita Khrushchev. Nikita, I love you so. First secretary of the party from 53 to 64, and the 7th premier of the Soviet Union, 58 to 64. He was not killed, John. He was pensioned off, died in hospital at the age of 77.
He lasted.
97.
He lasted. I think he was the only one that lasted, wasn't he?
Credit to him. And had some fantastic reforms, which I may or may not touch on later on. I am not going down the fucking route of almost getting radicalised like I did watching this film.
No radicalised again. Every time.
If it's not guns, it's being a communist. It's being a fucking Marxist.
God, you used to love your guns.
I did used to love my guns.
Yeah, you really did.
Yeah. It's this really funny relationship of macho bravado between what we learn are the top men in politics at the time. They all go to leave. Stalin makes them watch this cowboy film instead.
Yeah, it looks fucking horrible. To the point where they know every scene. Every scene. Well,
do you know what? That whole thing was really real, and this is something I learned by doing a little bit of a look. I think I googled Stalin cowboy films. That he had this fear of being alone, or this kind of couldn't be alone. It just didn't work for him, and so he would keep people eating, drinking day after day after day, and not allowing them to kind of leave.
Well,
and watching fucking cowboy
movies. Do you notice the cars that they were driving when they were leaving, or anywhere they went? They were all driving about in 1940s Cadillacs.
Oh, were they really?
Yeah, there was a 61 and 62 series. There was a car at the time that was really, really popular, but I don't think I could get hold of any. And for the life of me, I can't remember what it's called.
Right. So for me, then, there's a connection there between Russia or the USSR and America, which is obviously on the back of the war, I assume, because there was this kind of this strange kind of uneasy alliance until the Cold War kind of
kicked off.
Yeah, it's weird, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really weird. Cowboy films were not seen to be ideologically suitable for the nation, but that didn't stop the USSR from making them. In this article that I read, in a similar vein to the Italian spaghetti westerns, the inventively titled Borscht westerns were filmed far from the Wild West in the steppes of the Soviet Republic and substituted native Indians, John, for Turkish tribesmen. It's only a bit racist.
Just a bit. make your own bloody westerns. Well, saying that, we made our own everywhere else, because a lot of especially in this was filmed in Kiev and London, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're laughing at them for impersonating the Wild West when we're impersonating Russia, Moscow, the whole.
Mate, we've got the weather for Moscow.
True. Aye, very true.
Most scenes in this when they're outside look like fucking threads. Didn't it?
It really did.
Before we veer away from communism and cowboys, I have got to share with you, John, you're going to love this, what I think is probably my fact of the show, amongst a show of absolute facts of the show. Stalin tried to have John Wayne murdered twice, John.
Twice,
not just once.
Once wasn't good enough. Let's do him twice.
He killed his horse the second time. John Wayne, this is from Collider.com. John Wayne's vocal anti-communist stance apparently got under the skin of Stalin. Apparently, in 1949, the FBI caught wind of a Soviet plot to kill John Wayne and came to LA to inform him. Instead of going into hiding, he hatched a plot with the FBI agents and, yes, his script writer, James Grant, to kidnap the assassins instead. The KGB agents made their way to Wayne's office under the prepared identities as FBI agents, but found Wayne and the real FBI waiting for them instead.
That's amazing.
It gets better. Wayne and the FBI then took the Soviet agents off to an abandoned beach and staged a mock execution.
That's grim.
At any rate, at this point, the assassins were handed over to the FBI and were apparently so intimidated by both Wayne and the prospect of returning to the Soviet Union. Having failed, they turned informants for the FBI instead.
Name one of them. Imagine you're trying to kidnap an actor and it turns out they've got balls like that. That's
absolutely
proper crazy.
But John, that's not all. I'm not doing the second John Wayne one because it's not very exciting. But when John Wayne tried to visit the troops in Vietnam in 1966, the last time the communists had a team or something, I don't know, an enemy sniper was caught trying to shoot Wayne. After he was caught, it revealed Chairman Mao Zedong had placed a price on the head of John Wayne for anyone who could manage to kill him.
Whoa, what was that price? That must have been bloody high. Jesus, man's trying to fucking snipe out John Wayne.
I mean, we all would.
Well, yeah, but back then he was so big, you think...
I mean, literally a big target at one point, wasn't he?
I know half, he was a bigger lad, wasn't he?
It's all that steak and beans.
Yep.
That's what it'll be.
I know that grit.
Back at the theatre, they get as many homeless people as they can in, so that the theatre sounds full. And he commands them fat ones, so we don't need as many.
That's good for the acoustics.
Like, how fat? And the bloke says, I could get my wife. She deadened the acoustics. It's just 10 out of 10.
That was comical.
The director explains it's going to be recorded for Stalin, so they should all applaud. The pianist Maria Venemanova refuses. Her family were killed by Stalin. He offers her 10,000 rubles. Right. A few things to unpack. 10,000 rubles is how much? £1 is currently worth 118.58 Russian rubles. And we thought our currency was in the toilet.
Yes.
10,000 rubles today is £84.33.
Right.
Now, Russian inflation calculator only goes back as far as 1992 when the USSR dissolved, but I did find out that apparently the ruble has lost 99.836% of its value since 1993.
Fucking hell.
Which means, look at your face.
That's fucking crazy.
Which means today's prices are 608.92 times as high as the average prices since 1993. A ruble today will only buy you 0.164% of what it would have bought back in 1993.
Bloody hell. That's a crash.
Yeah. There's not as many people queuing up for fucking McDonald's in Red Square today, is there?
No. Since you're on that vein, this was at the end, but somebody said, do you notice somebody said they're going to spend a kopeck?
I did, yeah. Molotov says we're going to spend a kopeck.
Did you look it up?
No, because I know what it is, but go for it.
Oh, because it's meant to be 100th of a ruble. So, in effect, it's a penny. So
that's right, yeah, absolutely.
Because I was like, is there a way for a shit?
It's fantastic. That's how well it's written.
Oh, no,
that's
it's good. Well I enjoyed
that is the most English thing you could possibly say. Maria Yudina Vemenova. The letter thing is allegedly true, but there's not a lot of proof on it. Another good story about her that has sadly been disproven is she was awarded the Stalin Prize and donated its monetary portion to the Russian Orthodox Church, quote unquote, for prayers for Stalin's sins.
That's been proven wrong.
In 1960, Yudina was fired from the Gnesin Institute because of her religious attitudes and advocacy of modern Western music. She continued to perform in public, but her recitals were forbidden to be recorded.
What?
She's the original Pussy Riot, isn't she?
Fine. Jesus.
I like her. I like her very much. The conductor knocks himself out falling over this fire bucket. There's this really brilliant thing I haven't noted, which is them saying, he says something like, even Stalin would be able to tell the difference. What do you mean, even Stalin? Are you suggesting Stalin's going, no, Stalin has the... And he's like talking up for like the KGBs. Stalin has the sharpest ears. It's very good.
He proper shits himself though, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's excellent.
Proper.
Yeah, shitting yourself being from the Midlands acting is what that is. We see more people being rounded up by the NKVD. And this old couple are woken by braying on the door. And he's like that, look, whatever they say, just do. Whatever they say, just do. Don't worry about it. Only for it to be a bloke from the theatre. And the guy's line is probably one of my favourite lines. You're Moscow's greatest and nearest conductor.
Yeah, that was very funny. That was very funny.
Melenikov, right? So this is Jeffrey Tambor, who, he's a piece of shit, right?
Yeah.
But he's fucking brilliant in this. He's utterly useless. He's no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
He says, there's this bit about whatever did happen to old Polakov, doesn't it? And then they're taking the piss out of him. And one of them goes, "Oh yeah, well, whatever happened to Trotsky?" I was kind of like, "Oh, I know this story. Yeah, I know this one." Live from the Stranglers song "No More Heroes," 1977 single that made it to number 8, John, in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I didn't know is that the band's publishers threatened legal action against Elastica in 1995, arguing that their single "Waking Up" borrowed elements of "No More Heroes." Elastica eventually settled out of court.
Right.
And I've listened to that recently, and at no point did I ever realise they absolutely rips off.
Did they rip it right
No
off?
More Heroes.
Oh,
yeah, it's the kind of thing.
Oh God, right. You couldn't get away with that. That's bloody notorious. That bloody.
Yeah. Well, it was like the Verve with that bit from the Rolling Stones. For Bittersweet Symphony.
Yeah.
Like, they don't make any money out of Bittersweet Symphony. The Stones make all the money.
Well,
in 1940, Leon Trotsky was assassinated at his home in Mexico City by Stalinist agent Ramon Merceda. The murder weapon, as the band told us, was an ice pick.
Yeah, just like Basic Instinct's Sharon Stone.
So he got Basic Instinct, John, is what you're saying, right? Okay, we'll all make a note of that. Molotov leaves and Beria says, goodbye, very quietly, "Goodbye, Molotov, old friend. Goodbye forever." Yeah, he's on the list. It would be cheaper and simpler if they just drove into the river.
I know. Not it. Did you look up and see if he was the inventor of the Molotov cocktail?
I did not, John.
Well,
Tell me.
I did.
Oh.
And he isn't.
And?
He's not.
Oh!
I know.
Why, John?
Why must he lie?
Why must history lie to him?
Exactly. It's the first thing as soon as I heard his name, I was like, "Oh, did he invent it?" No, turns out he didn't.
Is it Jeff Molotov
No.
of Galashiels?
Aye, big Rab.
Big Rab Molotov. Yeah, so Khrushchev tells his wife all the things that he said and she writes them down and whether he laughed or not. And he says, "This is Khrushchev's first law. Make a note of everything that the boss laughed at and didn't laugh at. And then you can do that." Because he's like, "I made a joke about a horse. And did he laugh? No. No more jokes about horses."
It's quite a good system, though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I might start doing that. Except nobody laughs at anything I say, so I can never say anything again.
Feedback over the radio is notoriously bad, to be honest.
The show is over, and Maria adds a note to the record sleeve for Stalin. When he gets the record, he puts it on and reads the note, which calls him a tyrant. He laughs at it and promptly falls down.
Yep.
Outside, the guards hear this thud. "Should we investigate?" And the bloke says, "Should you probably shut the fuck up before you get us killed?"
Yeah. So I looked that up. Apparently that part was definitely true. Nobody was allowed in that room until he woke up.
And he didn't, is the answer.
And he didn't, yeah. So...
The next morning, the maid delivers breakfast to Stalin. A soldier alerts Beria that Stalin is very ill. As he's leaving, he talks to his general that he thanks God for Stalin and all the dead soldiers and their wives who fuck like sewing machines. He's such a piece of shit.
He really is.
At Khrushchev's flat, he's running through the list of things his wife wrote the night before over breakfast. When he gets the call, he puts his trousers on over his pajamas. These pajamas, by the way, fucking huge.
Yeah, massive.
On tiny little
on
Steve
his frame.
Buscemi.
Yeah. That bald shaven head. Perfectly shaven.
Yeah, because I said to Rachel, I went, "Fucking hell, he looks really old here." And she was like, "They've aged him up."
They've done something to his nose as well. It was definitely...
I didn't spot that. Prosthetics, wow. Beria arrives at Stalin's dacha to tell the soldiers not to let anyone in and leave them in place. It smells like a Baku piss house in here. Baku, John, of course, is the capital of Azerbaijan.
Right.
That's where the hairnet thieves are from.
Azerbaijan.
2,293 kilometres from Moscow and a 27-hour drive.
Fuck that.
Stalin's pissed himself. Beria takes the note and a key from Stalin's pocket, which leads to all these other places around the room
I noticed that.
with other keys.
It was quite intricate, wasn't it?
It's like going in one of them fucking murder room game thing.
I thought it was like, what was that? Crystal Maze?
Very much so. Outside the room, you've got
people shouting,
playing his mouth organ.
Aye. Oh.
And asking for his mummy.
Good old riff-raff. We'll cut these out.
Obviously. He gets all these files, some of which he burns, and the rest he hands out the window to his driver.
Yeah.
Melenkov arrives sobbing. He's irreplaceable. As acting general secretary, I must take his place. But you said he was irreplaceable.
Yeah, that's quite funny.
Again, it's quite funny. Melenkov, was he as weak and feeble as this? During World War II, with the USSR winning several critical battles, such as the Siege of Leningrad and the Battle of Stalingrad, as well as the Battle of Berlin. I'm very nearly said the Battle of Berlin there. That would have been very different, wouldn't it? Stalin, Beria, and Melenkov grew suspicious of Zhukov, who we'll come to later, worrying he possessed capitalist tendencies because he established a friendship with US General Dwight D. Eisenhower. Invited the future American president to Moscow and induced collaboration between the United States and the Soviet Union.
Ooh.
There you go. So he was somebody that they didn't really get on with. He's so fucking useless in this.
Oh, he really is.
He suggests
but
a
man,
doctor.
can he travel the world?
Oh, indeed, yeah. He says, "Oh, they put all the good doctors away for the plots of treason, didn't you?" Oh, yeah, so I did.
Yeah, did you check? I think you checked all that out as well.
Yes, it's all true, but there was nothing particularly exciting.
I know.
To
I tried to look up wee bits and bobs, but there's nothing. It just says
It's just facts. Yeah, it's just the film is facts.
I know, and this is a problem. It's all fact based.
Khrushchev arrives, kneels in the piss. They continue to discuss doctors, but they say it's a committee decision. Next in is Kaganovich, Minister for Labour, followed by Mikoyan, the Minister for Trade, and Bulganin, the Minister for Defence.
Yeah.
And they both kneel in piss. There's this bit about, look at them, Abbott and Costello.
But they all kneel in that piss, didn't they?
They all get pissed. And 3 times I got fitted for this suit. It's really good. Those are all crying around it. Compelling drama, gentlemen, but we need to get him into bed. Malenkov isn't helping lift him. He says, I have a bad back. And one of them says, too much social climbing, I expect. Good. Mikoyan accuses them of being at the Bolshoi, which I quite like. The kind of like the dancing around it kind of thing. The Bolshoi was founded in 1776 and is among the world's oldest ballet companies. It has a branch of the Bolshoi Ballet Theatre School in Joinville, Brazil. Which I thought the boys from Brazil were Nazis, not communists.
Joinsville.
All these characters, by the way, have all got little bits of themselves. So Lazar Kaganovich, in the 1930s, Kaganovich, along with with project managers Ivan Kuznyov and later Isaac Segal, organised and led the building of the first Soviet underground rapid transport system, the Moscow Metro, known as the Metropolitan Imeni L.M. Kaganovicha, which was named after him until 1955. So say what you want about him, but at least he made the metro run on time.
They got things done, eh?
Absolutely. Myokin. Indeed. In November 1963, Mikoyan was asked by Khrushchev to represent the USSR at President John F. Kennedy's funeral. At the funeral ceremony, Mikoyan appeared visibly shaken by the president's death and was approached by Jacqueline Kennedy, who took his hand and conveyed to him the following message. Please tell Mr. Chairman that I know he and my husband worked together for a peaceful world, and now he and you must carry on my husband's work.
Ooh.
Yeah, you see? Yeah, it could have happened.
Jackie, well then, aye.
Jackie, commie. When they're lifting him, there's this. He's heavier than I thought he would be. And one of them goes, "Are you insulting Stalin?" No, it's a compliment. Gold is heavy. And the other guy says, "You know, you've looted enough of it, you saucy little pirate." Which I loved the line, and it's a really, really fucking deep reference. This, listeners. The looting of Polish cultural artifacts and industrial infrastructure during World War II was carried out by Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union simultaneously after the invasion of Poland in 1939. A significant portion of Poland's cultural heritage, estimated at 500,000 art objects, or object d'art, I'm learning French, was plundered by the occupying powers. Catalogued pieces are still occasionally recovered elsewhere in the world and returned to Poland.
Jesus, it's a lot of...
Saucy pirates,
I
aren't they?
know. What the hell?
Carrying him down the corridor to his bedroom and into bed, Khrushchev suggests they call a doctor. The only option is a bad doctor. Someone says, but if he survives, then they're a good doctor. And then we'll all get the praise. They head out, except Beria, who tells Stalin, have a nice long sleep, old man. I'll take it from here. Stalin was 73.5 kilograms in weight, by the way. There you go. I don't know how much gold you get for that.
Really?
Probably like
what age did he die?
That I don't have. 74,
74.
I think.
74? Yeah.
74, 75.
So I've got here Stalin. So he died of a stroke, obviously, but they say the contributing factor was alcohol. Drink is not your friend unless you're Stalin.
I'll decide that. There's this bit in this public park. There's an old man walking his dog who gets chased and grabbed by the soldiers. Now, did you recognise this old bloke?
No.
He's the regional cop from Hot Fuzz who does the...
so he is. Oh, yeah,
it's just for this one.
So he does. Oh, Jesus. So he does. No, but because I remember that's a good bit, but all he's worried about is his dog. What about my dog?
Yeah, his dog runs off. Yeah. He's a doctor and he's been rounded up with this bunch of other doctors. Like, they throw like a doctor's coat on a dog.
On the mind. Yeah.
It's so funny. There's Kaganovich and Khrushchev having a discussion about the future, and Khrushchev suggests getting Stalin's children here. At that very moment, we see Svetlana is already there. I hate Svetlana so much. She's just a bit too much for me.
She's nice too.
In this, I like her considerably more than her brother.
Oh, fuck, fucking hell.
Vasily. Other things that happened, John, in 1953, May the 2nd, Hussein bin Talal is crowned King of Jordan. He'd remain in seat until his death in 1999, when I assume she replaced him with Peter Andre? Question mark.
He held on, didn't he? Jesus Christ.
June the 2nd, Queen Elizabeth, you've already done. June the 18th, Egypt declares itself a republic. And July the 27th, the Korean War ends with the Korean Armistice Agreement.
Happiness all round.
Oh, yeah, we took the happiness all round. September the 26th, rationing of sugar ends in the UK.
Oh.
Yeah?
Thank God.
That was the best day of your life, that, wasn't it?
I wasn't alive then, but you knew it was coming. Walking diabetes.
Vasily is her brother, and he's in charge of the national ice hockey team. The coach said that these are the best they have since the plane crash. What crash? Soviet planes do not crash. And I was kind of like, okay, that's a thing, I guess. Sadovsky's plane crash was the 7th of January 1950, and it killed all 19 people on board, including almost the entire ice hockey team of the Soviet Air Forces.
Yep.
11 players, as well as a team doctor and a masseuse. Not much of a happy ending for him, then.
No, really not. But apparently Vasily got away with it. So obviously,
it was fucking covered up. Yeah,
but I imagine recruiting all these nobodies and saying, "No, that's just definitely the team."
But he recruited a new team without his father even knowing.
Didn't even know.
By all accounts,
too busy watching westerns to care about the national team.
I love this bit where he's shouting here, "Play better, you clattering fannies!" Which I am going to steal.
Oh, you're taking it?
Svetlana John, at the age of 16, she fell in love with a gentleman called Aleksey Kapler, a Jewish Soviet filmmaker who was 38 years old. Her father disapproved of the relationship, and Kapler was sentenced to 5 years of exile in 1943 to Vorkuta, and was then sentenced again in 1948 to 5 years labour camps near Inter. She married her cousin, Ivan Savandi, in 1962, and the marriage only lasted one Shelbyville year.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Cousin.
So Kapler's the guy that she asks for later in the film. Could you bring him back? He died in an escape, which I quite liked that. I mean, I didn't quite like it. It's sad moment. But, yeah. The doctors explain that Stalin has had a cerebral hemorrhage The old doctor explains that he will not recover. Beria cuts off Moscow and sets the NKVD in charge instead of the Red Army, taking Molotov off the lists but implementing a new list.
Yeah. So NKVD,
Yep.
just basically the secret police.
That's absolutely right.
Because I thought it meant something, but obviously it would have meant, the acronym would have meant something in
Something
Russian.
in Russian. Yeah.
Because it's just the secret police.
Correct. Kind of a precursor to the KGB, I suppose.
Yeah.
Khrushchev's talking to Svetlana and he says, I promise no harm will come to them. Harm? Who said harm? Who wants to harm us?
Yeah, she's right on it all the time.
Yeah. Just then, they get word that Stalin, he's back. He sits up and wordlessly points to this water, but they misconstrue it as he points to this painting of a sheep herd and a lamb. And
feeding the country.
And it's like, he's saying that he is the sheep herd and the people are the lamb, and get him milk.
They give him some milk. That's right.
Great. Melenikov's give him some milk. No, probably just water would do. Beria leaves the room and angrily hits the wall. The guards ask if they can be relieved from their post because they've been there a long time. Just then, Mikoyan comes out and says Stalin is dead. At the autopsy, Vasily walks in and accuses the doctors of killing him. Again, I love this. Because earlier on, she's asked, "How old are you?" How old are you? Are you old enough to do this? And the same guy, he asks, "How old are you?" And he's like, "I'm old." And he's like, "No, you're not old.
And you're a testicle.
You're not even a person. You're made mostly of hair."
That was funny. I like that. See that Rupert Friend? He's in a few things. I thought it was just really
I feel like I've seen him in stuff. Yeah. I feel like I've seen him in a lot of other kind of like period stuff.
Yeah, he was in one of the Hitman films as well. Hitman 47.
Jesus, I didn't recognise him with hair.
Yes, I know.
He looks like a testicle.
He looks like a testicle with a barcode on the back of his head.
That you could tell that particular film, that Hitman film, was really cheap.
Yeah,
but I still felt it was good.
I felt it was better than the one we.
Randolph,
what was his name?
Yeah. Much better. Vasily, less than 2 months after his father's death, he was arrested on 28th of April 1953 because he had visited a restaurant with foreign diplomats. He was charged with denigration of the Soviet Union's leaders, anti-Soviet propaganda, and criminal negligence. Mm-hmm. He was sentenced to 8 years in prison. The trial was conducted in private, and he was denied legal representation. His appeal for clemency to the new Soviet leaders, Khrushchev and Malenikov, was unsuccessful. And he sadly died of alcoholism at the age of 40.
Man, back in the day.
Grim, eh?
1962.
Grim stuff. Maybe it was a hitman. You don't know.
Maybe.
They drag Vasily outside and then they load the body into the truck and take their respective cars to Moscow. Berry has picked out this maid to take with him in his car. I fucking hated this.
Mm-hmm.
And as they leave, the special forces arrive to empty the place. Furnishings, painting, wine.
Everything.
They even put some tomatoes into a tub at one point.
I know. Yeah, and they're drinking everything and just...
Yeah. And then they pack up the staff and doctors and everybody in trucks. Except they bring these two blokes out who look marginally like the actor that played Stalin. And they go, "Oh, lookalikes."
I've seen that.
Looks like they're out of work, and just fucking blammo them in the face. Don't
That's
they?
pretty bad.
Fucking hell. I went down a bit of a rabbit hole. It doesn't work on the podcast. I went down a rabbit hole of looking at one of these agencies that gives you lookalikes for parties and stuff like this. And it's just loads of people that look kind of like David Brent and charge $1,000 for an afternoon.
No. Who'd want
that?
You
can fucking shove it.
For $1,000, I'd want to reel one.
I wouldn't even... I'd want more. I'd want his little testicle of a mate as well. Back in Moscow, Beria visits Polina Molotova, which is Molotov's wife, in her prison cell. Stalin is dead. Let's get you back to Molotov. As he leaves, the maid from Stalin's Basha is there. "Sorry, darling, it's work. I'll make it up to you." Have her washed, and then she's basically thrown into the cell that he's just taken Molotova out of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Grim.
I'm finding we're saying that a lot in this film. At Molotov's flat, Khrushchev invites him to a group meeting. He explains that Stalin and Beria added him to the list, but now Stalin is dead. They have to act. Molotov accuses him of factionalism.
Yeah, I had to look that up.
Yeah? What'd you get?
Just factionalism with the act of being devoted to relying on or emphasising facts, so it's basically just somebody's, well, all about facts. They just
All right,
rely on
okay.
facts.
Yeah, I also had that, but it turns out that there's two different. Because I read that and I was like, that's a really make a lot of
Two
sense
different
to me.
factions of
There's
factionalism.
two different factions of factionalism. When a larger group, such as a government organisation or political party, is divided into smaller groups with different interests or opinions, the smaller groups or factions can be contentious with the larger group's leadership. So there you go, two separate
Factoids.
facts about factionalism. Fantastic. He drags him into the toilet, doesn't he? Because that's the only place that he doesn't think the KGB would have him.
He keeps pulling the plug.
He's pulling the chain. And he's like, no, you have to wait for it to fill up again. He's like, oh, fucking apartments. Which, again, is really, really funny when you learn that he hated high-rise apartments.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was in power, Khrushchev created lower-rise apartments of like 6 floors or less.
Right.
So like tenements.
What? Well,
yeah, and then in the 70s and 80s, they were all knocked down because they were shit.
Yeah, I know.
In favour of the higher buildings.
Higher buildings, yep.
They, again, just such a throwaway line. It's like all those stupid throwaway, not stupid is the right word, all those little throwaway lines in things like Four Lions, you know, where he says, and there's people playing stringed instruments in the streets. Mm-hmm. There's like a really niche reference to one thing that's like one line in the Quran. Like, that's what that is. I love that. When we finally do that, maybe. Yeah. Well, I'll do that as a fact. The toilet pull flush in 1775, Scottish inventor Alexander Cumming was granted the first patent for a flush toilet.
Nice.
There you go. Up until then, you were all shitting in the street.
And pouring out the window.
That's right. In a hole in the fucking floor. Molotov says he'll never act against the party, even if Polina was killed. And then he's basically going, treacherous sow, I'm glad she's dead. She betrayed all of us. And then Beria ferries her in, and he's like, my love, you've returned. I thought you were dead. And he tells them both he kept them safe for one another. So many changes to come, Nicky. You'll like some. And I'm like, oh, you fucker.
He's a hateable guy, isn't he? Oh.
It's the next day, and we see the maid being given back to her parents at the fucking gates. It's really, really grim.
So that was a symbol. Did you get that?
No.
So basically, he was a known predator. But what he would do is he would obviously do what he did, and then in the morning or whenever it was, he would give them a bouquet of flowers to justify it. Because if they didn't take the flowers, then it wouldn't be seen as consensual, and he would have them imprisoned.
Fuck, what a monster.
He's fucking horrible, man. But if they took the flowers, then he would just let them. They
quote-unquote payment.
That's horrible.
Yeah, because she has that bouquet of flowers.
Yeah, it's just to show it's a consensual thing. It was fucking horrible. Horrible guy.
Malenkov is getting his photo taken. His outfits are the best. They're
brilliant,
like the biggest, most communisty outfits you've ever seen. Beria approaches him about the committee meeting and suggests releasing low-level prisoners and stopping arrests. The suggestion from Beria is to copy a famous photo of Stalin and a little farm girl. And Malenkov says, get the girl. Mm-hmm. The girl was Elesnia Sergeyevna Markazova.
Easy for you to see.
That was. I know. Yeah, that was the name. That was her name. There you go. That's fact.
That's done. Over.
That's all I have on that. That's all I want to say about that girl. At the committee meeting, they propose Malenkov the leader of the party and Khrushchev in charge of the funeral. It's poor fucking Khrushchev. Beria says to release the people arrested 3 days ago and freeze executions. It's eventually agreed despite the suggestion. And the line is, it's like wiping their asses with Stalin's final list. Montage of the funeral being set up. It's wonderfully grand. And the guy's like obviously putting some makeup on Stalin. And he goes, not so much rouge. He's not Clark fucking Gable.
That's very good as well. And the wee guy running about trying to show him all the different types of napkins.
Oh, taffeta and all this kind of... Yeah, there was so much of that. And look, in any other episode, listeners, I would have looked up fucking rooped or rouged and...
Oh,
you know,
the crepe.
Yeah,
yeah.
Creped and uncreped, basically.
Yeah.
It was a different word.
It was like I seen it of, is it Father of the Bride, where there's Martin Short's running about asking if he wants this, that and the other thing, which is quite funny.
You know what? I've never seen Father of the Bride all the way
What?
through. Is it a future episode?
I don't think we get a lot yet. I really don't.
Okay.
No.
A lot of wedding stuff.
No.
If only we knew someone getting married.
If only.
If only I knew another podcaster getting married. They bring a group of young girls in for Melenkov, and he's got this all white outfit. Fucking hell. He looks like an ice cream man. And Nonna Stalin's young girl. He sends her away. He wants the particular girl.
Yeah.
And I fucking loved Buscemi's line, "The Snow King does not approve."
He really pushes it with him, though, for considering obviously he's in charge.
Yeah, but again, I think it's about like the power. You can tell like they've got no respect for this guy.
Oh God, they don't.
I got no respect. Field Marshal Zhukov arrives. Hello to Jason Isaacs.
With a Yorkshire accent. I looked this up.
It's a fucking great accent.
It is most of the sort of abrasive and most proper people he knows are from Yorkshire, apparently.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, they come across as really powerful.
Well, he's Scouser, so
yeah.
What's a war hero got to do to get a drink around here? And he asks, why has the Red Army been replaced by the MBKD? And we see Maria, the pianist. She's playing the funeral party. And we learn that she knows Khrushchev because she taught his niece to play piano. Beria likes this little nugget, and he takes her aside and explains he has her note to Stalin.
Mm-hmm.
Zhukov explains that the NKVD cannot control the people. The Red Army are needed. But Beria explains, no need. I've cancelled all the trains to Moscow. Which didn't go down particularly well. The doors are open and people file in. Watching Beria and Svetlana, and they're watching all the people as they come through. This is where she explains she wants to find her friend Alexei Kaplov. Like he brought back Polina Molotova. For you, I will attempt the impossible. The whole committee are here with Stalin in state, and there's this whole thing about the bishops. Who invited the bishops? And they're not very happy. Harold Bishop,
John Bishop,
Bishop from Aliens.
Apparently, one of the bishops was John Cleese.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to have to go back and have a look at that. Shame he's been cancelled.
Yeah, but he was a bishop though.
I'd like to bash the bishop. At the wake, Vasily breaks in drunk and suggests that they've stolen Stalin's brain and sent it to, quote unquote, the brilliant line, Zionist American queers in petticoats. All right, fucking J.K. Rowling.
I'm done.
This Chinese guy's translating the whole thing. The kid loved that. Zhukov wins him and kicks him in the balls, knocking him to the floor. Behave, you're a stain on that uniform. All right, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to represent the entire Red Army at the buffet. You girls enjoy yourselves. Vasily wants to speak at his father's funeral. Melnikov allows it, much to everyone's chagrin. Beria tells Khrushchev that he knows he and Maria are connected and shows him a copy of the note that killed Stalin he's going with, telling him to toe the line. When he leaves, Nicky speaks to the general and gives him the order to start the trains and open the city borders. Everybody deserves to see the old man.
Mm-hmm.
That night, the city's absolutely mobbed and the NKVD starts shooting innocent people.
That's horrible.
Yeah, it is pretty grim, that. Nicky speaks to Maria, explaining that Beria releasing people is his plan. He was going to release the bishops. She admits to writing the note. They're now tied together for better or worse. The girl from the photo they've found, and she's a teenager now, and the line is, she's as big as an ostrich.
And it's like, I just get somebody like that, just smaller.
yeah, just like her, but smaller. We learn that the NKVD have killed 1,500 people in the city. Nicky heads to speak to Zhukov, who's telling a story about how Chafin's the biggest killer of soldiers in the Red Army. Okay, Lieutenant Dan.
Dan.
The story about the NKVD killing 1,500 people, the numbers that I saw were a lot smaller. It was like in like the single hundreds.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying that's okay. But...
No.
Stalin's body was embalmed and interred in Lenin's mausoleum until 1961. In comparison, Queen Elizabeth II lay in state for 4 days.
Yeah.
The preserved body of Ho Chi Minh lies in state in the purpose-built Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum at the Ho Chi Minh Museum in not Ho Chi Minh City, but Hanoi, and is open for public viewing.
Oh.
The same for Kim Jong-il and his dad, Kim Il-sung of North Korea. So at least they're together. At least they're not Romri.
Oh, God.
Future episodes? Question mark.
I think
there's some political stuff to get there.
Yeah,
some puppet stuff. I haven't seen that in probably about 15 years.
It's been a while. You well, we need to watch it again just to see if we can.
I hope it's aged all right. I really do hope that it's
I doubt it.
Still okay. Was it ever okay?
Nah, I don't think it was.
That South Park movie's fucking brilliant, by the way. The songs in that South Park movie are perfection. Zhukov explains he's on board with pinning the deaths on Beria because he's out of control. But they have to get the whole committee on board, and it has to happen tomorrow. The day of the funeral, when the Red Army are in the city. Beria approaches the lot of them, explaining that he has files for all of them, and threatens them all. They all have the same view except Milenkov, who's adamant he didn't mean him. Because he's kind of like, he said all of you.
Yeah.
Not me, but all of you. And they were like, no, all of you, as in all of us. He's so fucking... Like, I hate... God, he's such a spineless little fucking creep.
I hated him in the Muppets movie thing, and I hated him in this.
Oh, really? All right, okay.
He's in the Muppets movies.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm not his biggest fan, because he is probably the worst character in Arrested Development? Question mark.
Oh, really?
Imagine being the worst character in all of the characters in Arrested Development. I really don't like... Yeah,
is that not a talent?
Yeah, I guess so. Oh, marry me. I fucking love that line. Next morning, Molotov explains that Beria needs to be murdered for the deaths, and they need to for bringing back the bishops. Molotov is very much against bringing back the bishops.
Oh yeah, he's proper.
Yeah, it's all. But again, he's someone else that says we have to all be in, or it's off, because it's what Stalin would have wanted. Which again is such a fantastic communist decision. Such a fantastic communist move. Beria speaks to Svetlana and explains Alexei is dead. He was killed escaping prison. Many terrible things were done in the service of the Union, he says. Again, that sounds like a bit of a Tory line, doesn't it? The last 14 years. Beria explains that they needed to stick by him or they'll be strung up and left out for the crows. At the funeral, carrying the coffin, we learn that they're all on board, except Milenkov, who's still not in. 2 members of the Red Army are in the Kremlin setting up this alarm system in the bathroom. This fucking book.
So weird, isn't it? Elaborate.
During the speeches, there's this jet fly by and Vasily's speech is drowned out. It's quite a good moment. But this is the bit where they go up for the photographs, don't they? And he takes the little girl with him, the smaller girl. Yeah. But she's so small, she can't be seen. Above the parapet. Again, just that attention to detail. It's all the setting up of that. Like, they set that up for, 6 scenes.
Oh, God, Because you just, I think you just let to see the top, just
the very top of her little hat. Yeah. Zhukov supplies the Red Army lads with rifles, and in the meeting, Nicky suggests they add to the agenda the behaviour of Beria. They press a button, and in comes Zhukov and his team. He punches Beria in the face. You want a job done right? Call the army. Again, I kind of like that. Yeah. They march Beria down to the toilet and handcuff him to the pipes, and this is the if nobody objects, I'm going to spend a Kopik line.
Yeah, that's it.
Milenkov refuses to sign the agreement to kill Beria. And he says, the only choice you have is between his death or his revenge. And he's like, oh, okay. In a stable, they sit down a bound Beria. Khrushchev reads out the accusation of 347 counts of rape, acts of perversion with children as young as 7 years old. He's accused of treason, anti-Soviet behaviour, The court finds you guilty and sentences you to be shot. They shoot him in the courtyard and set his body on fire.
Just for good measure. Just a fact about that: when they were renovating his former home, they found a couple of bodies of children under his house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fucking hell! John Wayne Gacy.
It's fucking
Communist Gacy. Comrade Gacy. How hot does a fire have to be to burn a body? Incineration of an adult body, a crematory furnace requires a temperature between 800 degrees C and 1,000 degrees C for 90 to 120 minutes.
So a bit of petrol.
Why, John?
A bit of petrol when he did this time. I know. Why must he lie?
Why indeed? Arguably, this fire would at least leave a skeleton.
Like Uncle Ben.
Aunt Beru. I'm dubbed Aunt Beru. Yeah. That'll serve you right for picking the robot with the bad motor.
I know. Fuck's sake. You had one job, you prick.
I wonder about moisture farming a lot, John. I wonder how you moisture farm.
I know.
Is it like There Will Be Blood?
No.
Does he take his straw and he drinks his water? I don't know. What's going on? What's going on with that?
Line in it.
What's going on with that? Fucking moisture farming. Like, I don't even understand.
I know. I don't get it.
And what do you do with it?
We'll need to look it up.
Come on, you're not telling me that he spent so long fucking making up a backstory for all these fucking things that live in Jabba's palace. He's not done any backstory for what moisture farming is.
No, true.
We don't even know what Toshi Station is. We just don't know. Anyway.
Leave us hanging.
These cold and flu tablets have really kicked in.
Good.
Khrushchev tells Svetlana that he's going to Vienna, but that Vasily will remain in the USSR where they can take care of him. We can't have a drunken madman telling conspiracy theories all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the final subtitles. In 1956, Khrushchev moved to demote other members of the party, including Molotov and Malenkov.
Yeah.
At long last, he became head of the Soviet government and commander-in-chief, until his removal in 1964 by Leonid Brezhnev. And he's at the theatre with his wife, and behind him is this amazing Brezhnev lookalike. This young Brezhnev lookalike with the hair and the eyebrows of fucking perfection.
He went to take his eyes off him as well. It was so creepy. I just sitting staring right at him. Like, ooh, foreshadowing.
Now, I don't know if you did what I did, John, but when I was looking up all these people, I looked up quite a few pictures of them, and they've got them looking like them strangely.
I still have it on Wiki, but as soon as because it always comes up with the blue,
you'll get like a portrait. Yeah, it's very, very good. And that's the movie. John, I've definitely got one or two more. What else have you got?
So the male girdle was invented in 800 AD.
The bit about the girdle, I missed that.
The funeral was the 9th of March, and there was 4 days of national mourning. They mentioned the Wurlitzer, remember? Is that a Wurlitzer when they brought in the thing?
Oh, he's brought in the respirator. He's dead, so it obviously didn't work.
So Wurlitzer produced their first jukebox in 1933, and they mentioned the Gulag, which is a system of forced labour camps in the Soviet Union.
Excellent.
Got it.
Fantastic. Stalingrad, you'll like this, John, originally called Tetsanyan, when it was founded, named after the Tetsatya River in 1555. When Lenin died in 1924, Stalin became General Secretary and renamed it Stalingrad. In 1961, our hero of the film, Khrushchev, decreed a name change. Volgograd. Named after the river. Volgograd, yeah. The river Volga. Because apparently in Russia, everything has to be named after a body of fucking water. Leventi Beria on the cover of Time magazine, 20th of July, 1953, titled simply Beria, Enemy of the People.
Ooh.
Steve Buscemi, John, it's his Triple Crown. Do you remember the other two films he's done that he's in?
He was Nicolas Cage, Peter Barney, and
Con Air.
And
Josh came on to talk about it.
Armageddon?
Armageddon. We haven't done Armageddon.
We should
The
do
Big
Armageddon.
Lebowski. You're out of your fucking element, John. Fire Department of New York in the 80s in downtown Manhattan for 4 years. And on 9/11, he did 5 days' work back with them and has spoken out about the PTSD he's got from it.
Yeah. I remember that. He kept it quiet for ages as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. It came out. Someone had got a photo or something.
No.
Polina Molotov. She was arrested for treason on December 1948, consequently being forced into an unwanted divorce with Molotov.
Yeah.
That's what really happened. She was convicted and sentenced to 5 years in a labour camp. After the death of Stalin, in March 1953, she was released from captivity by Beria and reunited with her husband. So it all pretty much happened that way.
Yeah, and Molotov still didn't blame Stalin for her imprisonment.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I read
No
that.
point.
That's so fucking weird.
Yeah, so weird.
Isn't that weird? The concert was real, but it happened 9 years before Stalin died. I've got the name Kremlin means fortress inside a city. The Kremlin and Red Square are UNESCO heritage sites.
Of course, yeah.
Did
Tom Cruise no blow up? I'm sure he did.
Yes, he might have done. De-Stalinisation, final two things. Monuments to Stalin were removed. His name was removed from places, buildings, and the state anthem. His body was removed from the Lenin Mausoleum, which was previously known as the Lenin and Stalin Mausoleum, and buried. In December 1955, Khrushchev proposed that a commission be set up in order to investigate Stalin's activities. The investigation determined that out of 1,920,635 arrested for anti-Soviet activities. 35.8% were executed. Fucking that's a huge number, isn't it?
Yeah.
688,503. And finally, it is based upon the graphic novel Mort de Staline. There you go. Which fucking Duolingo hasn't covered that bit yet, so I don't know what that means.
You still to reach that bit in your tapes?
Absolutely. While I top them up, John, how many do you think we got?
Oh, God. I think we went for it. It was probably the hardest show to do because everything was all facts-based, so we can't just say something's a fact because that's a fact. So, 92?
Oh, a little bit higher.
90, 100?
A little bit higher.
100?
A little bit higher.
110?
Oh, a little bit higher.
112?
111.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay. Considering it's a film about facts, we've done all right with that.
Considering it's all pretty factually accurate, we're not so bad. I am going to, because I'm feeling absolutely rotten, I am going to dump the patrons in a little thing coming up right now. So here they are, the patron shout-outs, which probably a lot funnier in my head than they are on this. First Lady Rachel Plant, Secretary of Listening to Shows months after they're released, Phil Farish, Russian Telegraph News Agency Biggie, 8-bit Tetris Twat Gadget, Man with a Movie Camera Stig, US Spy Josh Wilson, Arshavin and Shevchenko Dan and Gavin Belson, Police Academy Mission to Moscow Gav McGill, Minister for the Federal Agency of Fishery, Ian Graham. Minister for Turnip Farming, Mono. Egg Marketing Board Premier, Joe. Lenin rising from the dead and groaning that he must crush capitalism, Aaron. Wargame Wanker, Nigel Davies. It no longer exists, Ian. US Ambassador, Maria. Mega Communists, Ali Dale and Megan. The Third Man, Paul Parks. Enemies at the Gates, Jen and James. If he dies, lovely Rob Jones. Nightwatch Jake. Daywatch Kieran. It costs how many rubles? Oodles. Red Sparrow Candy. Time Commander of the Red Army's base in Milton Keynes, James. And of course, a huge thank you to Lee Davies for picking the film this week. Oh, that was good, wasn't it? I sound much better there, don't I?
Yeah. Good eye.
I fucking hope so. I really hope I don't die. The death of Plantlin.
I know, aye.
John, well, look, if you like what we do and you want to get a shout out tailored just like that, give us a quid each month and do so. John, you don't know, but I know, and the patrons know because we did another spin of the wheel.
What? Spin
yesterday.
that wheel.
I spun that wheel, and our friend Aaron from Z1 Podcast
right.
is going to be the next one.
Okay.
to pick a film. I'm yet to hear from him, so I don't know what he's picked.
Please make a good
yeah.
one, Aaron. Please.
Mate, it will be. It'll be something fucking zombie related, so it'll be pretty good. But
it better not be Revenge of Billy the Kid, because I fucking hate that film.
Don't give him ideas. I'm going to get to pick before this goes live. But we've talked, haven't we? We've got a couple of ideas about what we're going to do that isn't patron related over the next couple of weeks. So that will be fun to do. John, anything nice to say to the lovely people who have made it all the way to the end of this one?
Yeah, no, thanks for sticking with us. But I'll be honest with you, this probably was one of the harder shows to do. Not the film itself was fine, but just the technical hiccups, the issues with breaking plenty. But no, thank you so much for sticking with us.
I am he who coughs. Very good. Look, it's been exhausting. It's been knackering. But most of all, it's always a laugh. It's always a laugh. This, even if you don't laugh at it,
we laugh at it.
Like we laugh, even if we're fucking laughing at one another. That's all we've ever wanted in life. But for now, he's been John. I've been Plenty, and this has been 111 things we learned from the death of Stalin. See ya.
Do svidania.
Oh, that's good. How good is that? Oh, he's blowing the speakers. Oh, I like that one. Oh,
That's over here.